Well, hello again. Welcome to Horror in Detail. Today we are going to share 4 Wendigo encounter stories. First story. This story was shared by you/JaneTogo445, so credits to him. The Wendigo. I'm telling this from a small motel just outside Green Bay. Something has been stalking, or more accurately hunting me. I don't know what to do, and that's why I'm asking you to help. You all know the legend of the Wendigo, right? Maybe you know it by Wendigo. Algonquian legends describe this entity as a man-devouring beast native to the Atlantic coast and Great Lakes region, as well as parts of Canada. I think this is what's stalking me. It started happening when I moved into my summer cabin past Green Bay. Little things happened at first. My dogs would bark into the woods, but I would see nothing. I didn't think much of it, just that it could a deer or mountain lion. That didn't worry me because I'm a native Yooper, U.P. of Michigan native, and have had previous hunting experience. Mostly this would happen and my dogs would growl into the woods but then seemingly forget about to go romp around the cabin. Then came the night. As I lay in bed one night, I heard shuffling outside my window. My curtains were closed, but the window itself was open. My breathing hitched as I saw a shadow standing outside my window. Just know that the cabin doesn't have a high ceiling, so the windows are low, so I'm not sure the exact size of this creature. I lay frozen as bed as the shadow stayed there for what seemed like centuries but could only have been a few minutes. Soon, the creature the shadow belonged to shuffled away, but not without emitting a guttural growl. This happened every night for the next 3 days. It would appear, stay, and then leave. After the 3rd night of this, I woke up and went to check on my 2 hounds, Eleanor and Chip. I walked around to the back of the cabin where they slept curled up in their makeshift dog houses. I froze and felt my stomach rise up to my throat when I reached their spot. Blood was spattered everywhere, and body parts lay strewn all over the yard. Eleanor's figure lay disfigured and torn apart next to Chip's quivering body. He, thankfully, was unharmed, but shocked and in quite a mental state. What monster would do this? I thought despairingly. No bear or mountain lion would dismember a dog like this. I knew what had done this. The creature that stood outside my window every night. The strangest thing, however, wasn't the spattered blood and gore, but the pearly white flap of skin next to my dog's corpse. Good old girl didn't go down without a fight. I picked it up and turned it around in my hands. One side was an almost translucent pearly skin, and on the other a light bluish, blood, I think. I dropped it immediately and ran back inside. I grabbed my old hunting rifle and my pack, which contained some food, water, and other camping necessities. The nearest highway was due north, but 38 miles, but I wanted out of these woods before nightfall. That's when it comes. During night. In the daytime it stays in the woods, always watching. Always following. I let Chip loose and we set a due east, where I knew a small town was less than 25 miles away. I could make it, but I would have to haul ass, if I didn't want to die. Me and Chip walked for the first half of our journey, and then we ran. We made it to the town right before sunset. If you can even call it a town. There's a gas station, a motel, and a couple summer cabins by the lake. As we emerged from the woods, I heard the scariest sound of my life. The roar was deafening. And pissed off. I knew that this wasn't the end of the game this son of a bitch was playing, but for me, tonight was enough. I am now staying at the motel, where the only residents are the owner, a runaway teen, and me. As far as I know, we could be the only people in this residence. I'm scared, so scared. I can feel it watching me. Waiting. Hunting. If I can survive another day, I will check in. But for now I cannot fall asleep. The deadbolts on my door will not protect me, and Chip has started to growl at the door. I have survived yet another night from this beast that roams the woods of the Great Lakes. Thank you so much for your support and input. I know many of you have been wondering why I didn't drive out of there like I had the hounds of hell on my trail. One very important detail that I forgot to mention was that I had my friend drop me off. I wanted to have a more authentic rustic experience, and to get away from the city. My friend, let's call him Mark, was supposed to drive up every 2 days to check on me since he has a camp not too far away. Only, he never showed. He dropped me off and then he vanished. I knew something must have happened to him because he was the type of guy you could rely on, and I had known him since first grade and he never flaked. Even though his cabin wasn't too far away, I decided not to risk it. I knew something must have happened to him and his wife. As soon as I get some answers from this god-forsaken town, I'm going back to look for him. He would have done the same for me. I tried calling him from the phone in the office of the motel I'm staying at. No answer. Back on topic, all through the night I heard growling. At times it would sound distant, and at others close. I woke up to find long scratches on my motel door. I wonder why it didn't just tear it down and come get me. But it wants to play. I think it's because I might have woken it up. I don't know how or when, just that it's awake and coming after me. This morning, the creature left me a surprise. Eleanor's collar. It's a simple band of leather with her name inscribed on it. That fucker is going to pay. I have to get rid of it, even I don't survive. First it took my dog, and then my best friend. But no more. I woke up and walked around town for a bit, my rifle on my back and Chip by my side for protection. It turns out this town used to be larger, but when the stock market crashed almost everybody left and never came back. Or so the motel owner tells me. He seems strange though. He's skittish and is always looking off into the woods. The lights outside the motel are always on and he keeps the doors to all the rooms locked. He's either hiding something or knows what's following me. I think it's both. I know this might sound stupid, but I might try to break into his office. There's something in there that can help me. I know it. Maybe I won't though. I have the feeling that he could be a dangerous enemy. The kid that's here is most definitely run away. She cropped black hair, tons of black eyeliner, and lots of gothic black clothes. I wonder why she ran away. I don't think she knows anything. She said she hitched a ride here from a truck driver, and I don't think she's lying. Despite her efforts to look tough, she has a soft voice. She wasn't meant to be like this. Her name is Mason. Thank God she's safe though, who knows what could have happened with a truck driver. Yes, I know not all of them are pervs, but come on, you've seen the movies. She's staying in the room next to mine. I'm glad because I'll be able to keep an eye on her, but I'm also scared for her. I can't imagine if anything happened to her because of me and what I have awoken. My parental skills are kicking in even though I've never had children. Chip hasn't slept since we got here. He stayed up all night pacing and growling at the door. I didn't get any sleep last night. I have dark shadows under my eyes because I refuse to fall asleep. I'm pretty sure he can smell the decaying flesh of the beast that is hunting us and has killed Eleanor. I can't bear to watch him suffer. I know that he misses Eleanor. I do. My dogs were the only family I had left. Now, it's just Chip and me. My father died when I was a little girl. It was on a hunting trip. They say he must have been attacked by a wild animal because his body was never recovered. I'm starting to think I might be reliving his experience. Right now, Chip and my rifle are my only source of protection. I'm going to look for sources of fire later. The gas station looks new, but the lights haven't been on and I haven't seen anybody in there. There might be gas and supplies that I can use to kill this motherfucker. That is, before it gets me. I just hope I can save myself and this little girl before it's too late. I still have no idea what woke it up. Could it have been already awake? Maybe I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I prayed last night. Why God, why me? Why would you let a creature this ferocious and demonic be born? Why let it roam the earth? What have I done to deserve this? Why God, why? As I walked around town I noticed none of the other buildings had scratches. Even Mason didn't hear any growling or had scratches on her doors. It's eerie. It's like I'm the only one who can see and hear this beast. Or maybe the others are just pretending. I plan on looking into this town's past. They have to have had something to do with this creature. It's impossible that they haven't. I need to rest, but I am too afraid to close my eyes. I am afraid of what will come and slit my throat in my sleep. Of what will devour me, bones and all. I am slowly being driven insane by the utter madness of this situation. I can't take it anymore. I need this to end. And I'm going to be the one to end it. I don't know how much more of this madness I can take. I thought I had it all figured out. Turns out it's smarter than I think, than anyone thinks or could possibly imagine. What could I possibly have done to wake this beast? I am writing to you in hopes that one day, someone will be able to kill it. I don't know if I can. If I am smart or strong enough. Last night was the worst night so far. It finally fed on human flesh. For the last 2 days, I have been trying to figure out how to kill this bastard. Fire. That's the answer. I had a plan. I had found gasoline, matches, and even an old couple sticks of dynamite. How lucky was I? Turns out back in the 1900s this town was famous for coal mining. There's even a couple of coal mines that weren't closed off. I thought I had it all figured out. So did that son of a bitch. It was nearing dusk yesterday and I had everything laid out. It wasn't a super fancy trap or anything, but it would do the deed and kill this demon. At dusk, I was ready and waiting for it to come. I knew it would. It always does. My trap was set right in the outskirts of the woods. I wanted to keep the motel owner and the stowaway kid out of this. I found enough dynamite to make 4 small piles. I placed them in ring and connected them all with some spare cord that I found. Hopefully this would work. I sat in the middle of the circle and waited, my trusty rifle at my side. I also had multiple knives on me hidden beneath my shirt and in my boots. Soon I heard growling, that seemed to be getting closer and closer. Then it stopped and all was quiet. I don't mean peaceful silence, I mean dead silence. No birds chirping or squirrels running around in the trees. It's like they knew what was coming and were trying to save themselves. Leaves start to crunch and twigs snap. The growling resumes, but it sounds like it's coming from all directions. I stood up and braced myself the best I could. Who can prepare you for the moment you must fight a beast descended from the fires of hell itself? Then, it emerged from the woods. I cannot describe how horrifying this creature was. I wanted to close my eyes and curl up in a ball until this whole thing was over with. I almost did. But then I stopped myself and decided that I wouldn't let this beast harm any other people. I wasn't trying to play hero. I was trying to save myself. This creature was entombed in decaying yellow skin. Its glowing yellow eyes stared into mine and I felt my bones shake. The Wendigo loomed over me, its sharp fangs were leering at me, almost laughing, as if saying, "Huh, what now?" I snapped myself out of my fear-induced stupor and ran to the nearest pile of dynamite. I pulled my pack of matches out and tried to get one lit. My hands were shaking so bad that it took 3 tries. The Wendigo slowly stalked towards me on its towering legs. I dropped the match on the pile and waited for fireworks. No such luck. The match sputtered and died as it landed just to the side of the dynamite wick. My heart dropped. I was certainly doomed. I had it all planned out that I didn't expect anything to go wrong. I looked around for the patch of matches that had fallen out of my hand when the creature batted me aside with a swipe of its paw. Blackness. When I regain consciousness, I see the Wendigo peering over me. There is a long gash along my left leg, put there by its monstrous teeth. I groan and try to sit up. Soon, I find the beast on top of me snarling and spitting in my face. I find one of the hunting knives I had hidden on me and plunge it as far as it'll go before crawling away. I look at the creature and find the hilt sticking from where its stomach should be. Grayish-blue blood is oozing from the wound. The beast roars in pain. "Hey, what's going dash?" That sentence is cut off as the Wendigo lunges for Mason, the runaway kid. With a single swipe of his clawed hand, the creature tears into the kid's chest, chunks of flesh ripping away. The look on Mason's face will haunt me forever. It was pure fear and surprise. The poor kid never saw it coming. I scream in frustration as I try to get the nearest pile of dynamite. I reach it and frantically search the ground for a match and feel a minuscule sense of hope as I find one. I strike it against the nearest rock and toss it onto the pile. I stand up on my legs and groan as I hobble away. The force of the explosion pushes me to the ground. Despite the dull ringing in my ears, I can hear a blood-curdling shriek. I look into the flames and see the dancing figure of the hell creature. Red and orange engulf its body as it is burned. I lay down among the ferns and brush that coat the forest floor. I closed my eyes and drifted off. You must be thinking by now that I killed it. That the Wendigo is dead. When I come to, I get up and make my way to the burned patch of land. I look around for any sign of a corpse, but find none. Not even bones. I could have been naive and assumed that the ashes scattered on the ground were from the beast, but I knew better. It probably ran off back to where it came from to nurse its injuries. I know that there is a good possibility that it'll come back. Of course, I'll be long before that does happen. I have since made it back home. I am never going back to that cabin. Let it sit there and rot, a reminder of the constant sorrow that can lie in these woods among the beauty. Let it remind people of nature's dark side. I am thinking of having a memorial for Mason and Eleanor. Chip is okay. I had left him in the motel room before I embarked on the hunt. I couldn't lose him. He's the only family I have left. Second story. This story was shared by u/prime84, so credits to him. Wendigo 1860. Tim points his gun and whispers, "I see it, but it doesn't see us." I snap, "Time, we don't have the time nor the resources for this, let's go before." That was when the it in question, a Wendigo, pointed its head straight up with a crack and began to sniff the air before twisting and writhing unnaturally with the sounds of a million bones snapping. I was drawn out of my awe when Tim's gun went off, and in an instant, the beast leaped towards us, only missing us 'cause I pushed Tim behind a tree. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. I was a small-time bounty hunter, and Tim, he was a bartender and self-proclaimed master tracker. I'd take him along with me for jobs that I couldn't handle alone. The only problem being he was a bit of a hothead. Never seemed to be too much of an issue, till he tried talking pot shots at something darn near bulletproof. Anyhow, after I pushed him behind the tree, we got to scurrying like a couple of raccoons that was just hit with a broom. We quickly got up the short hill, and I got to making a plan before it was on us again. Neither took long. Tim had ideas of his own, however, and began to shoot at it. The creature was on him instantly, and it pulled back its arm when I shot it, getting its attention. It turned and looked at me while I had it distracted. Tim wriggled the muddy 16-bore shotgun off his back and blasted the creature in the face. It stumbled back off of him, stunned. At that moment I grabbed my rifle and shot it again. It leaped for me and I dove behind a fallen tree. The creature landed hard on a large portion of a tree, getting impaled. Now, the way I got this odd job wasn't exactly normal. One day while pursuing a shop, an old man approached me. He said he'd give me $500 to kill the creature that lives in the woods on his property. So of course I took the job. I figured it was just some crazy guy in the woods, or a coyote, or some wolves or something. I took Tim just in case I had any trouble. After the thing impaled itself on the tree, it writhed and screeched. Tim got to his feet and shot it again, sending an antler and some bone chunks flying. It wasn't dead. As it started to pull itself from the tree, me and Tim bolted. It was just then that I remembered that the old man had given me a stick of dynamite. I turned, lit it, and tossed it into the tree next to where the creature was implied. Just as it pulled itself from the jagged stump, the large oak fell, trapping the creature. We ran and we didn't look back. When I returned to the old man's shack, there was a note with $500. The note said, "Thank you for freeing me of this burden." I never saw the old man again. Third story. This story was shared by u/Joker Lockhart, so credits to him. I hunt Wendigos for a living. My last hunt wasn't a Wendigo. Hi, I'm a 27-year-old Wendigo hunter. I started because, well, that doesn't matter right now. I wanted to write down the encounters I had. R/no sleep seemed perfect. Day 1, I got called down to an abandoned house at the end of my street. I carried my daggers, made of silver. When I got down to the house, I heard it, a Wendigo. At this time, my first hunt, I wasn't prepared. By the time I located the sick bastard, he had the advantage. I was pinned down and his mouth was almost on my neck. I managed to kick him off me. The back up. Wendigos are stupid sometimes. He stood up and roared, but he was focused on dinner, not the train that dismembered him on impact. I burned what was left of him and collected the ashes. Job done. Day 2. Today I hunted cautiously, carrying my bow and daggers. I found it feeding on a deer in a tunnel. Thank God for rednecks. I shot an arrow to a rock. The Wendigo looked at the rock. The trap was set. The Wendigo walked over and I grabbed the explosives my neighbor gave me and I lit one and tossed it. The Wendigo looked at me a bit too late. He was blown apart, not much left because I put holy ash and silver shrapnel in the explosive. He wouldn't be getting up. Day 3 finally I got a call about the Wendigo on the mountain. I went up there with a gift my neighbor, his shotgun he left me in his will. I have slugs in the barrels and extra in my pocket. I went up to the cliffside and found the cave, but these are smart ones, yes these, there are multiple. They manipulated the sounds of my sister, the one they killed. There was an old car next to their lair. Join us, hunt with us, stop killing your family, I yelled in reply, if you're my family then I'll put you out of your mercy. I aimed at the car and fired. The explosion of the gas tank closed the cave off, but the alpha got out and attacked me. His claw slashed my leg. I still have the scar. I drew my dagger and put it in his neck and flipped over. His back's on the forest floor. I stood up and he did too. I unloaded a slug into his chest, sending him flying. I reloaded and splattered his head against the wall. The sick son of a bitch that took Elizabeth from me was dead. I dragged him home and burned him in the basement wood stove. Day 4 today I was called to investigate some dead swimmers in the stream, cuts and parts of their body carved off. This was not a Wendigo. I prepared for one hell of a hunt. I went to the waterfall and got ambushed by a massive wolf, a skinwalker. I stuck a knife in the wolf's neck and it recoiled. I grabbed the shotgun and fired, knocking it back. I ripped the knife out and kicked it down the waterfall. I pulled out my dad's .44 Magnum and put a bullet in the thing's head, between the eyes. My one bullet was a silver hollow point filled with poisons, cyanide and wolfsbane. The tip melted when blood got into contact. The tip was mercury and the skinwalker fell. Cyanide and wolfsbane destroying his brain and heart, mercury attacking his blood. I left him for Wendigo bait. They would fall for something this big any day.